Hey, this is Stephen Anderson, and you're watching The Illest Lines.
What's good, everybody? This is Daniel Anthony, and you are watching The Illest Lines, where we discuss certain lines from specific songs. And today, I have a good friend of mine. You could say we go way back to a degree, and kind of here and there. Give it up for Stephen Anderson.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself, man? Oh, most definitely. Appreciate it.
I am doing pretty good. Have had a nap today.
Gotta have it. So thinking about like when we met, I mean, I don't know if it was like actually, cordially meeting, but I kept thinking that there had to have been a moment where I met you, but I just wasn't sure. Sometimes you place people in certain moments of your life. It's like, okay, was it there? So I couldn't remember off the top of my head, but and as far as like people that we know, which is another reason why I thought it was the case. Israel Bell, you know Israel Bell, right?
Yeah, that's my guy. That's my boy. He leads the cut on my project, Liberation.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was in 2014, right?
2014. He did a tune called Conquer All.
Yeah. That's the dude right there.
He's a problem.
Yeah, most
That's
definitely.
why I tell everybody he's a problem. Yeah.
Most definitely. So first question I'd like to ask you, though, even though that was kind of questions already, but first question is, so when did you first get caught up in music?
I think I was a baby, because from the way they explained it, my sisters and them, I just always loved music. So they would play music. I would just dance around the house, just whatever. My sister would play like the barge and stuff like that.
Right.
I'm just dancing to the music. Whoever was popping back in, late 70s, early 80s. I just told my age.
Right. It's all right. I'm right there with you.
Right.
You can't tell.
Right. We got this wisdom. But my sisters used to play music all the time and, just dance with me. And then I started going to church. And they ended up putting me in the children's choir, and I got kind of caught up in music then. And so I was in the Sunshine Band and Voices Joy Choir. And so it was kind of, that became my life after a while.
Gotcha. What area was that? Like what city were you living at the time?
Actually, I'm from South Bend, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
So I did, I've done a lot of traveling, but South Bend, Indiana is my home. And I currently reside in Metro Detroit now. So.
Oh, okay. Wow. How's it out there right now? Cold yet?
Freezing. It was like 33 degrees or something.
Oh man. Now see, I'm not gonna lie, I love the cold. I'm from California myself, so they're bipolar with their weather and how they want to be. It could be cold and freezing one morning and then hot in the afternoon. But I miss that cold. I live in Florida right now, so
Okay.
we get constant warm. When we do get our moments of cold, though, I love it. Hoodie season is nice.
Right.
But and as far as who were your influences either back in the day or as you grew up?
Back then when I was little, younger or whatever, Curtis Mayfield, Donny Hathaway, Marvin Gaye,
right.
Those were like, because they were like men singers, so that was like my favorite singer.
Right.
And then as far as gospel, it was Thomas Whitfield, the Hawkins,
right,
and who was major to me then? I was even a little Aretha Franklin fan. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, like the Amazing Grace record. I had the double record myself.
Right. Oh, okay. I was gonna say gospel Aretha or R&B.
Oh, gospel Aretha. But R&B Aretha, I loved R&B. After I got older, I was able to appreciate her R&B side. But that was as far as like my soul and gospel. Mm-hmm. But I grew up on a lot of like pop rock as well too, because I'm from that beginning of BET and MTV era.
Right. So. Yeah, same here. Yeah, just growing up, like being introduced to MTV and, sitting there waiting for, like, my thing was Michael Jackson. It was Michael Jackson and Prince. you know.
They were everything.
Right. Even though, you know, kids wanted to dress up like Michael Jackson, not really too many people wanted to dress up like Prince.
Like Prince.
Right. Yeah. But the music was always dope, you know, and I always remember sitting there at the beginning of MTV, and they would play certain clips of certain other people, other artists and whatnot, and you knew that Michael Jackson was coming on.
Yeah.
You knew that Prince was coming on, or somebody else, and it was just one of those things. Like that's how I feel like our generation was kind of coaxed into loving music in a broader sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We was cultivated and had so much expectation
right
for what we about to experience. So it was dope watching them.
Oh, most definitely. How do you feel that cultivation and expectation led you to wanting to do music yourself?
Actually, I didn't even know I was really musically inclined.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was just kind of little kid, and I was able to hear the notes
right
as a little child. And then when I got to church, my choir director, they was teaching the songs, and I think one time one of the sections got their part wrong, and I was like, "No, this is your part," and I sung the part, and all the kids looked at me. A couple of kids looked at me like, "How you do that?" You know. Right. And so we were kind of groomed. Mm-hmm. And matter of fact, we also learned music without a musician.
Right.
A few of us kind of ended up with like relative perfect pitch.
Oh, okay.
From learning music without a musician. So they'll play the tape once, teach us the lyrics, and we'll learn it, and we just learn to stay in key from there. Right.
Yeah. Man, that's amazing to be able to do that. That to me is when you know that even if your ego doesn't want to allow you to admit it, it's a nice sense of. It's just a good feeling when you know, like, okay, I'm glad that God blessed me with this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And knowing that I could be able to hear things. I mean, it's my oldest son was able to do that too when he was little. He's 23 now, and he still got that sound as well. So, you know, it's just knowing that people have that sense in them. It's almost like a spiritual thing, really, when you think about it.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah. So, you know, sometimes I think that folks don't even realize that a journey to where you are now has started way before it was public. And I noticed that, like we talked about earlier, or I mentioned to you before we started this, that was it your first record that was out in 2014?
My first record I did came February 2011. Matter of fact, it's coming up on its 10th year.
Wow.
And it was called The Affirmation of Stephen. And and so the second one's called Liberation, but Affirmation is definitely my first one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So would you say that you kind of felt like you had a long journey before you released that, or did it feel like it was just something that you kind of fell into?
Like growing up, you know, from learning, you know, listening to music in church and everything, because I'm a church boy. So, I mean, no matter how rough around the edges I could come off, I'm a church boy. You know, it was a lot of life lessons that I learned. And so in church, you kind of, you know, you learn the music and all that stuff. But I learned the art of writing a story in my songs. So not just writing a song just to be writing a song, but also write a song based off the word, because, you know, we're believers. We're of the faith. So our songs should be about the uplifting of the kingdom, or it should be edification. Right. And so that was part of the piece. And then my life's journey, which is my testimony, became part of the song. So it was a struggle, because you wrestle with trying to write a song and not tell your business. Right. You wrestle with writing a song and not trying to sound all spooky and spiritual. Right. You know, because, you know, most of my songs are kind of like almost like sermons. Right. You really could sit in we could sit in a Bible study and have a topic. Right. The song will birth out from that. Mm-hmm. So the journey was it was tedious, if I could say that. Oh, okay. It was a tedious journey. It wasn't so much that it was so drawn out and long. It was just it took a lot. It took a lot out of me, and it showed me what I was made of, and it showed me what all I had in me to even complete the process. Got you. So then, as far as like how the industry is now, and the differences, you know, between back then and now, how would you feel that it's changed for the better for artists like yourself? It kind of almost has put us all on the same playing field because, as we know, the record labels are fading out, and everybody's becoming independent artists. And so you kind of find out who's really hungry, who really wants it. And I don't want to just, compartmentalize by genres, but if we're going to say just in the music industry or business altogether, it's more of a thing of who's really hungry, who's really after it, what is your purpose, and it kind of shows you what you got. Are you that sales associate now? You know what I'm saying? But I think it has helped us in that aspect because now everybody can't play. Well, people still have the ego issue, but it's no longer the big I's and little U's. We're major, you're minor. It's no longer that type of thing anymore. What kind of has separated us, I think social media has, but I think it has given more now opportunity for people that you probably would never hear of to be heard just from a soundbite. 15 seconds can change someone's life now.
Sure can.
And like I said, with the whole social media thing, back then we didn't have all of this. So, you got slipped on a VHS or a beta. Now it's just a 15-second clip on what they call Snapchat or on Instagram or whatever, Facebook, and that could change somebody's life. So I think it really has helped us as far as having that budget to put you out there a little bit more. That had its pros and cons as well, but this now has put us on the same playing field.
That's true. And I've been feeling that way for a little while as well. Myself, I started doing music back in, I want to say like 97, and that was doing R&B music. After that, I felt like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to be able to do it in a smart way. So I decided to make sure that I paid attention a little bit more to a lot of things that was going on. And I'm cool with the way that things are to a degree. I mean, you got your people got their little issues with as far as like how much money you get per stream and you know what I mean, things like that. Sometimes people feel like they're putting more out as far as money to be able to promote themselves because now, like you said, we're independent now. So it's like, well, now it's all on us. But to me, I feel like that's also a positive thing. It's all on us. If we make a mistake, I yell at myself. You know what I'm saying? So there's no one to sit there and blame except ourselves. Okay, well, and then you learn from it. And I think for certain artists, it allows us to be able to say, okay, well, now let's take responsibility for this thing that we're trying to do. Now let's really go into what do they call it? A&R mode. You know what I mean? Like now we're our own A&R, we're our own promo, we're our own manager, unless you actually have somebody that does that for you, And speaking of gospel, how do you think that affects the ministry behind gospel music itself?
I tell people this. I won't say they can coexist, but I don't think they're parallel because there's industry and there's ministry. And so industry, as we know, is being people that have been signed to record labels, they care about the money. They care about what's the revenue, what's the return going to be. Ministry, we're focusing on, if we really understand ministry, we're focused on what we're doing as servants. So if we're going to be servants, we really don't have time to be like, so you have to kind of, again, compartmentalize yourself and break things up. So it's like having a job. During the day, I'm the A&R and I'm the manager and all that stuff. And then I gotta go somewhere and get myself prepared to go minister. Well, the contrast with that is, what if, dealing with business, it got real frustrating. It could throw you off your game.
Sure can.
Time to deal with whoever, the vendor was, So for me, can I make a confession?
Most definitely.
I don't call myself an artist. The Lord called us to be witnesses. So I just feel like I'm just artistic with my witness. So I never tell people, I never really subscribe to the whole artist. And, you go somewhere and like, he's a recording artist. I'd be like, I just nod my head, but I just feel the Lord, he has given me something to do. And I'm just artistic with my witness on how I convey the message to people. So I haven't really grasped, even when I had was signed to record labels and dealing with the industry in such a way that it was hard for me to really get into the groove of it. Because sometimes it just puts you in a difficult place spiritually.
Right.
So, and there's no shade to anybody who's out there that has all that going for them. But the truth of the matter is, it's not as a pretty process as painted.
Right.
So I mean, and so a lot of things just like paid perception.
Right.
So I hope I don't get in trouble for this.
No, not at all. In that sense, do you ever feel like you've sort of had to take yourself out of yourself for that moment to remember what you were doing?
Yeah. Yeah. I've been on both ends, extreme of it. And I can be honest, like in the beginning, I was all about, well, no, whatever, and I kind of, let's be honest, everybody that hollering Lord, Lord ain't doing the Lord's work. Right. So I kind of got played a lot of times. And so after, dealing with professional people, I mean, the word lets us know in business be men.
Yeah.
So we need to handle our stuff. And so if this is our livelihood, and this is what you called me to do, and this is the budget you have, keep your word.
Right.
And I think we should hold people accountable now to keeping their word.
Yeah.
I just before, you got a hall pass every time. Now I don't really give too many hall passes.
Right. Like, I'm fresh out of those hall passes. I'm sorry.
Like, I just never didn't hand them out. So, so my thing was, it's not, I don't have to feel like I gotta, go back to my old ways, but I do believe in, putting a demand on people to keep their word.
Right.
And still, we got to find the balance. I'll say that, because at the end of the day, when we get done doing what we're doing, we still got a family to feed.
Yeah.
We still got to live. We got to get back home. So I believe we should hold people accountable. Now, if you say that's what we're going to do, I think there should be some type of writer. Demands talking about I just need all blue M&Ms and all that.
Right. I was just going to say that.
That's necessary.
Right.
Even now, I don't really hand out a writer. If we handle there's a financial exchange or whatever we're going to do, whatever pro bono, whatever the agreement is, it's cool. I don't think it's necessary to be asking for all that stuff.
Right.
Bring that stuff with you. If they flying you in and there's certain things that help you can't pick up and put on the plane, ask them, if they don't mind, they offer it, take it, because I did find out sometimes when you tell people no, you don't want certain things from them in that aspect, it does offend them. So,
is that right?
Yes. So when people sometimes offer things to and it's so much. It can be so sensitive on each end. So sometimes I just say yes, or I just say, don't worry about this part, just bring this, whatever.
Right.
Like that. So we just go from there.
Gotcha.
So I do believe in holding people accountable, but I don't believe in being extreme.
Right.
If they don't offer, don't ask.
Right, pretty much, yeah. No green, no blue M&Ms.
Yeah, it's not that serious,
Right.
Besides, you don't need no sugar anyway. You're about to minister.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no kidding. I had to tell myself that many times. Many times. So, in regards to your music now, so the 2 singles that you have out right now are Back to Love and Exalted.
Yes, sir.
Both of them are tremendously great songs, and one of the things that I like about it, they both kind of take me, they do kind of bring me back to that whole thing of being in the church and seeing somebody come out and minister, and it's not short and sweet, but at the same time it's short and sweet, you know what I mean? And you got into those, and those are 2 of my favorites that you have. But Back to Love, man. I gotta say that one grabbed me because the first thing obviously was the music. I'm always listening to how things are stacked up, what little things I can hear. Can I hear a ting? Does it need more cowbell? You know what I mean? Something like that. You know what I mean? I'm always listening to those things, and I love changes. I love how something can go from, one key to another key, and you know what I mean? Those things. And that's how I felt about that particular song. But the part in it, that Back to Love, that stood out most for me was the second part of the verse where you said, "Bitter from the mileage on your heart, tattered and broken, your world is falling apart. bitter from the mileage on your heart. Tattered and broken, your world is falling apart. But God will restore and you'll recover it all. This is not the end. This time you're gonna win. Grab a friend, let's get back to love. That, like, just from the bitter from the mileage on your heart, like that part, just it takes I feel like it should take a person back to, what did you remember about your life before this moment? You know, for some people, before you got saved, or before you decided to change your life in some way, shape, or form. So my question to you on that would be, like, what mind frame were you at when you started writing just this song, let alone this particular part?
It was, I tell people this all the time. You can't really, in ministry, convey something to somebody unless it meant something to you, because we can use a lot of words. But and so the storyline behind this song, it was really dealing with hurt people,
right?
And hurt people,
right?
And so I was one of those hurt people that was starting to lash out. And within my heart, I knew better, because I've seen this so many times. I've seen this scenario. I've seen this person so many times in other people.
Right.
Now I'm starting to become this person. So I was bitter and angry. Like I'm saying, I can just be real transparent, naked about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was bitter about my marriage. I was bitter about my church experiences. I was bitter with encounters I've had with people that were allegedly friends. And so in life, you don't want to have you don't want to be the victim.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, these things actually did happen.
Wow.
So when they happened, I couldn't see the sunshine. When things happened, my ministry was becoming dull because I had too much in me. I was getting to a place where I was no longer going to be any good to anybody else.
Right.
I wasn't going to be an effective father anymore. I was going to be an effective worship leader. I wasn't going to be an effective preacher. And so how can I preach about the love of Christ and moving on and God delivering and God healing, and I'm not experiencing it right now? I ain't. Even if he's doing it, I'm not seeing it.
Right.
Because of the blinds, I couldn't see anything. So I just, you putting your heart out there so many times and just constantly getting to roll over all those things. And so when I got to a place where I said, I need God to deliver me, I was sitting in my office and I had just worked on someone's album, and I was like in a mentally good place, kind of.
Right.
But then what happens, it just felt like the good moments sometimes are too good to be true. I don't know if you ever dealt with that. So the dark clouds started falling and kind of set over me. It was like, don't go to the album release. Don't do this.
Wow.
And the album release was in like 3 hours.
Wow.
So I'm sitting and I'm like, I couldn't see the good in what God just had birthed out of us.
Right.
And I was sitting there and I started crying. I was angry. The Lord said, get up. He said, this is enough. Get up. I'm like,
who are you talking to?
I'm looking around, but it was the Spirit. It was the Holy Spirit speaking in me. So get up. This is enough. And so I began to deal with where I was at. I started getting counseling and different things, and I had to deal with the fact that I was starting to lack love in me because I was angry at my life experiences, and I realized, and I was angry at God, and I was like, God, you ain't did nothing to me. And the thing is, God had kept me through all of that, so I had to get back from my place called wit's end. I had to get back to a place called love. And so the lyrics were, I was trying to reconcile my marriage at the time, and it wasn't happening. It just wasn't. It just wasn't happening. It was a wrap. And trying to make sure my sons were okay, and trying to make sure I was okay, because health-wise I wasn't good. And at the time I had just lost my father, and I birthed the church.
Wow.
So I'm birthing the church, going through all of these things, and so, and that song ended up becoming the theme of our church, Back to Love, because the church is called the Ear Church. And it's called Empowerment, Application, and Reconciliation.
Oh, okay.
And how can those things happen?
Right.
Unless they happen from a place called love. And so that's when God began to deal with me about getting back to love and ministering to other people. So the same thing I would have said to you if you was in a broken place.
Right.
I began to preach those same things back to myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where all those lyrics came from, you know.
Wow.
Grab your friend, grab,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. And get back to a place, you know, where everything really flows better through, a place called love. So, and that's when the restoration. So when I wrote the song, like I said, it was like a self-rebuking encouragement moment. So when I wrote the song, man, I'm like, there be no sad song. You know, I like house music. I like, I like grown and sexy music. You know, from the 70s and 80s. You know,
Excuse me.
Stevie Wonder and Donny Hathaway and Curtis Mayfield, all that stuff. So all those elements you hear in that song are from that soul place. With a little house, you know, on it. So, and so that's where the song came from, you know. And that what love is. It's long suffering, it's kind, it knows no evil. Endures a test of time, and it takes you through. And so that's where that song came from. It came from a broken and restored place. And when I say broken, it was like I had to be broken before the Lord again, before that place could happen. So that's where it came from.
Man, I definitely not only appreciate the wisdom that you've shared thus far, but also just that song itself. Because I have to admit, in writing down to make sure that I didn't get the words wrong, I'm reading it, and it's funny that you said that you didn't want to boo-hoo in the song. Not was it boo-hoo, or you didn't want to be sad in the song. But if you just read the words, it looks like it would be a slow, you know, one of those type of reaching out type of songs that, you know, will just grab somebody, you know what I mean? So to go into it with that understanding that, no, this has to be a joyful thing, you know what I mean? To realize, okay, yeah, I may have been through this, that, and the other, but guess what? I'm still here. God kept me here. God brought me through, and now we're getting back to love. And that's probably one of the biggest and best things about, I should say, messages about this particular song. And I think that whatever God did through you to make sure that kept that meaning, did a great job on that. For real.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
most definitely.
Glory to God. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Last question I'm going to ask you. What would you say is the illest line that you ever heard that either made you want to step up your game as a musician, singer, or a writer? And it could be anything.
Lord. Okay. You ever seen Under the Cherry Moon? It's the song Girls and Boys.
Huh.
You remember that song?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, let me tell you something. I pretty much played that tape until there was no tape to play.
When I tell you that record, it was just like, it was that album just made me fall in love. I was younger, but that album's phenomenal. If people go back and listen to it, it's such a storyline to it.
Oh yeah.
And one of my favorite parts of the song, it says, he gets to towards the end of it. He said, "Life is precious, baby. Love is so real.
I knew it.
I can take the breakup if you say that you care." He said he tried to run away, but his pride was too strong. It started raining, baby, and the birds were gone. And I said, "What the world?" It was just sitting there like, and people, people laugh, but when I heard it, I was just like, "Wow, it stuck with me." I mean, he was like, "Dang," he was like, "We could be together, but if you say I can handle this, if you're gonna be out, just be honest."
Right.
You know, it was dope. So
yeah. I do want to make sure that whoever sees this, that they know where they can reach you. So social media, where else can they find you?
Instagram, I have a music page, and Instagram and Facebook, I have a music page called D-Musquick, D-M-U-Z-Q-U-I-C. I have Facebook, Stephen Anderson. Oh, I'm sorry, Elder Stephen Anderson, E-L-D-E-R-S-T-E-P-H-E-N. And then my Twitter and Instagram is Elda Stephen, the same thing. You can follow my YouTube page at Daytime 78. And all my music is on every digital music platform you could possibly pursue. You can find my music on there.
Cool. Can't wait to hear more. Are you planning on doing any videos anytime soon, or?
Actually, we are planning a virtual live set.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we're doing, I think, all but one song off of this new project, which Back to Love and Exalted is on. So.
Okay, and when is that going to happen so we can keep our people onto it?
End of November, beginning of December. As a matter of fact, I'll send it to you as well.
Cool, awesome.
The flyer, so
yeah,
we'll post it. And
most definitely.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it, man. Well, much love to you and your family, man. I really appreciate your time, and
thank you.
I'll keep you posted on everything on my end, and vice versa, man.
Yes, man. Blessings. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. All right. God bless you, man.
Peace.